My name is Nick. I'm 23 years old, and I wear a mask of myself. No, I don't wear it figuratively. I mean it literally. You might think I have something wrong with my face, but no, I'm not disfigured. You want to know why I wear this mask? Listen to my story and decide for yourself. My mask is just like my real face. It's a 100% identical copy made out of silicone. No one ever knows that it isn't my real face, until I tell them that is. I have to wear my mask at all times without taking it off. And now, because of this, I'm in big trouble with the law. Let me tell you why. I'm an engineer, and I'm in my last year at university. I'm a pretty smart guy, so I'm told anyway. I made my mask myself on a 3D printer. That's right, I printed out an exact copy of my own face. Up until now, the mask had helped me live my life and get by, but now I'm in real danger, precisely because of my mask. I would wear my mask all the time, on the street, in school, when with friends. The only time I didn't wear it is when I'm home alone. I didn't want anyone to know about my disguise and think I was crazy. Only my parents and girlfriend know about the mask. Nancy, I could trust with anything in the world. She understood me like no one else. At the beginning of our relationship, I didn't admit that my face was a mask. But one day, Nancy caught me putting it on. I had to tell her everything. And thankfully, she accepted me for who I was. Mask or not, I was so happy. We were together for only 7 months, but it felt like eternity. I loved Nancy like nothing else, and I was sure she felt the same for me. But soon, our relationship would face a terrible test. One day, I awoke to find my mask was gone. I didn't fully understand how this had happened. I had returned home late in the evening while Nancy was asleep. I had left my mask in the living room and had then gone into the bedroom, where I passed out with tiredness and didn't hear anything during the night. The next morning, however, we were greeted by a terrible surprise. Everything was upside down in the living room. It seemed that thieves had made their way into our home and ransacked the place. But when I looked at what was missing, I suddenly realized they had stolen a few minor things and one important thing, my mask. It was so weird. Why break into the rented apartment of a student? I didn't have much money either. I decided not to call the police because I thought it was just a stupid petty theft. I soon regretted that decision. I had a spare mask in my bedroom because I couldn't afford to go without it. I think now is the time to tell why I needed a second mask. I know that I look perfectly normal, but in truth, I'm not. I have a very rare and very severe sun allergy, which means my skin is more sensitive to the sun, like 10,000 times more sensitive. Imagine it like this. When you might bask in the warmth of a sunny day, I would get third-degree burns. I've had this condition since I was a child. I used to stay inside all day or hide my face completely. My childhood was unhappy, to put it bluntly, but everything changed when I developed an interest in science, and after a while, I was able to print my own mask. At the time, it gave me a whole new life, but now it seems I may have destroyed my life too. I was a month away from graduation, and as you can imagine, I was completely overwhelmed with my workload. On top of that, I had an upcoming exam in a class where the teacher hated me. I was preparing almost every second of the day and didn't even have time to meet Nancy. The day of the exam finally came, and despite my preparations, a brutal reality awaited me. I went to have some food in the canteen, wearing my spare mask. I had no idea what had happened to my original mask at that time. It seemed like it had disappeared without a trace. With everything going on, I'd largely forgotten about it, but was suddenly reminded when everyone in the canteen suddenly went silent. Weirded out, I looked up to see an urgent broadcast on our state's main TV channel. A local bank had been robbed, and police were asking for anyone with information to come forward. Luckily, the CCTV footage had caught the image of one of the burglars. It was me, or rather, an exact copy of my face. I almost fainted there and then with shock. The robbery video was playing without interruption, and everyone began to look at me. I could hear them murmuring, saying that it was me. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and decided it had to be a practical joke my friend Roy was playing on me. So I started to laugh. I really thought that Roy had recorded this bizarre video and had it ran in the TV in the canteen. How wrong I was. Everyone around me was taking this very seriously, so I immediately jumped online and learned, to my dismay, that it wasn't a hoax. The bank robbery was genuine. Moments later, the police entered. They took me down to the police station and interrogated me. All the facts were against me. I had no alibi or witnesses for that day, so I began to tell them about the mask that had been stolen from me. Nobody believed me. I asked to call Nancy, which I got, and she arrived at the station a little while later. I thought that was it. She would verify my story and they would have to let me go. But it wasn't so simple. Nancy did tell them that I really do wear a mask of my own face, but she hadn't heard anything about the mask being missing. I couldn't believe it. Perhaps she was confused. My lawyer, hired by my parents, who had heard about the robbery, came in a little while later, but even he didn't believe me. I was getting desperate, but the worst was yet to come. Whilst in a holding cell, Nancy asked to see me and broke up with me. The girl that I'd dreamed of spending my whole life with dumped me, refusing to verify my story. She said she didn't want to be with a criminal. I was crushed, confused, and just wanted to understand what all this meant. I was nevertheless released on bail due to my condition, but only until the facts could be clarified. My prospects were not looking good. My whole apartment had been turned upside down. The police were looking for money, but of course, I didn't have any to be found. I couldn't tell the police anything helpful because I hadn't robbed the bank. But now, I understand everything. A couple of days after being released on bail, I was walking and saw my ex-girlfriend. She was driving a car, and in the passenger seat was me. I saw Nancy laughing and hugged this guy who had my face. Of course, I didn't have time to write down the registration of the car or take a picture of them together, but I know what I saw, and I definitely saw myself. I ran to the police station and told them what I had seen, but they didn't believe me. Can you imagine my despair? Somewhere out there is someone wearing my face with my girlfriend and lots of money, while the real Nick is facing up to 12 years of jail time. I have no idea what to do next. You believe me, don't you? Nancy, my love, betrayed me. Since that day, I haven't seen her anywhere. Some people say she moved to another state. Have you ever been betrayed by the ones you love most? Help me by writing your advice in the comments below. And remember to like and subscribe to the channel for more awesome content.